Grove Sports Park. This is it. Time for the gold medal matchup between Team Ontario and Team New Brunswick. It's the 2014 Baseball Canada Under-15 Championships, and you're seeing it on Rogers TV. One last time with myself, Bill Canitis, Andrew McDonough. Andrew, before we tee up this game, it's been 4 great days of outstanding baseball. We've seen great young athletes from all across the country representing Canada strong. Before we tee up tonight's matchup, let's look at how these two teams got here.
Yeah, Team Ontario losing to Whan early on, but then going 3-1 in the preliminary round and winning 6-2 over British Columbia earlier today to make it here.
And then for New Brunswick, very similar. They cruised through their pool as well, going 4-1 in their preliminary round, culminating in an 11-6 victory over Whan earlier today, and that's why we see both of these teams here for today's final. Talking about these two teams, we know Ontario, what they're capable of offensively. They have a pretty decent attack, but they've been getting it done with solid pitching.
Yeah, that's right. Ontario, great pitching, a complete game by Lipinski, and not one but 2 solid outings by Gollert, and a team ERA of 2.88.
Yeah, New Brunswick, it's almost the other direction. Now, they've had solid pitching as well, but it's the offensive numbers that really stand out. They have scored 44 runs in their 6 games. They have 30 RBIs. That's good for first in the tournament, but the big one is a .416 on-base percentage. So those numbers show that surely we'll see a high-scoring game potentially. We'll see what the difference will be. Will it be solid pitching, or will it be the bats of New Brunswick that make a difference? And of course, before we head to a break, you know the tradition, the drill we've been doing for the last 4 days. Let's talk a little bit about the weather. And the weather, well, it's been pretty fantastic here today. It's been the best day here in day 4.
Yeah, look at partly cloudy, 25 degrees, 20% chance of showers. But let's go with there won't be any showers. Let's hope for the best. I'm
with you. No commentators jinx on that. Sunny skies, they'll take us into the evening on a great day, great weather for baseball, and a big-time gold medal matchup coming up after a quick commercial break. We'll have first pitch. It's Team Ontario taking on Team New Brunswick on Rogers TV. All right, good evening. This is it. Here we go. Gold medal matchup. Doesn't get any bigger than this at this age group for these guys. A big position here to try and walk away and swing away and catch away yourself to a gold medal at the Whan Grove Sports Park. It's our final matchup, game 8 of 8 on Rogers TV for the 2014 Baseball Canada U15 Boys Championships. And myself, Bill Canitis and Andrew McDonough, we are stoked. Ontario's here looking to repeat. They were last year's champions, obviously a different team, different age group, but they're looking to carry on the tradition for their province.
Yeah, big introductions in the commercial break and a big-time feel here. Lots of people in the stands. This one's going to be good.
Yeah, the atmosphere is pretty pumped up around the diamond. We were talking to some people before the game. We've got some teams still hanging out to watch this final. Friends, family, supporters, baseball fans all hanging out as they do exchange the starting lineups there between both head coaches. Dwayne Irvin for Ontario, his coaching staff as well includes Claire Osborne, Ricardo Alvarez, and Steve Small. We want to give the love to some of the coaches for both of these teams as they've been giving us great information and have been really supportive and cool to talk to. Dan Esty leads the way for New Brunswick. Jamie Burt and Joel Esty are the assistant coaches for New Brunswick. 2 teams that are very vocal, that have had a strong path to getting here. You saw our intro to this game. Ontario, they beat BC in our first game televised on Rogers TV, 9-0. Followed that with a tough 10-3 loss to Whan, but they've been perfect since then. A 7-2 win over Quebec, 15-5 over Alberta. And finish it off this afternoon, earlier today, with a 6-2 win over BC that sees them here now in the finals. A team with a lot of experience that is used to being in these situations. We mentioned they won the elimination tourney in Ontario to be the team to represent this province. They are the Mississauga North Tigers. This is a team, as we take a look at how New Brunswick stacks up defensively, this Ontario team also were the Pee Wee provincial winners a couple years ago. You can see Carson and Farrell are the battery for this New Brunswick team. around the infield, excuse me, Poor, Esty, Mercier, and at first base, Newman. And let's take a look there at your starting pitcher for New Brunswick. That'll be Ben Carson. He's a gritty, he's a gamer, according to his coaching staff. He's not an overpowering guy with his fastball, but he has a wide assortment of pitches, and he mixes them up, moving from east to west, mixing up speeds, and he competes. That's what they were saying. No matter what, he's a gamer, and he plays, and he comes to play in these big-time situations, and that's exactly what New Brunswick will need, a big performance from their starting pitcher. As a team, New Brunswick has held their opposition to a .266 average. As well, they have a .310 ERA, allowing 45 hits and 18 earned runs. Most of those stats about the middle of the pack when it comes to this tournament. In Ontario, offensively, this is a team where we're used to seeing them have a bit of a higher average. They're hitting .278 as a team as we take a look at their batting lineup. Cooper Davis, who has the best average in the tournament, will lead things off. We mentioned what a spark he is at the top of the order, followed by Irvin and Naylor in this first inning. And, of course, the rest of the way, you can see a very deep lineup. No easy outs for this New Brunswick pitching staff. One thing, though, with Ontario, 18 stolen bases in the tournament. If they get aboard, they know how to cause some chaos along the base paths, and I'm sure that'll be no different here today.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how many outs there are, what inning it is, they're always doing something special on the base paths.
And you talk about the man who's been on fire. Cooper Davis has hit 9 for 16 in the tournament, has cashed in 6 times with 4 RBIs. That's good for a .563 average. And earlier today against BC, Davis went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, so he was a big difference maker in that 6-2 victory. And here we go. Let's play ball. It's a gold medal championship on Rogers TV. Once again, thank you for being a part of this for the last 4 days. And we're having fun here to see this one out in a big gold medal matchup between Team Ontario and Team New Brunswick, representing the East Coast of Canada.
And earlier you saw how important this really is for both teams, but especially New Brunswick, huddling together, hyping themselves up before this game.
New Brunswick, we saw them earlier today in that matchup where they beat Whan 11-6 in order to find themselves in the final. 11-6 victory. They are vocal. There's a lot of communication from the infielders to the pitcher, a lot of support, a lot of shouting, and that was a pitch well outside of the strike zone, so the count is now evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes here to the first batter, Cooper Davis, and a tough test early on for Ben Carson, excuse me. And his fastball drops in for a strike, and that's something you don't see too often. And judging by the reaction from Cooper Davis, he is not a big fan of striking out. Well, nobody's really a big fan of striking out. However, that just catches a piece of the outside part of the plate, and he can't believe it, and that's a rarity to see this guy not on base to lead off a game as Jake Irvin steps into the plate.
Yeah, uncharacteristic by Davis.
Steps up to the plate, excuse me. Jake Irvin, the first baseman.
And as you can hear here, the crowd is buzzing early on.
They sure are. They're pretty vocal. Big support for both sides. The stands are packed at both sides of the field. Irvin has a couple of RBIs in the tournament, hitting .214 is the Ontario first baseman. And that pitch falls in for a strike right at the knees. 2 balls and a strike here early on. Pitch, a hanging breaking ball, takes a high bounce on the third baseman. He's got to get the throw across, and he fails to execute. Does Ty Poor. Again, how many times have we seen the slow grounders to the third baseman, and you really have to make the throw in one quick movement, and that one he skied just out of the reach of the first baseman.
Yeah, especially those high hoppers, you want to get the transfer out quick and whip it over to first, but sometimes you just throw it wild.
Here comes the underager, Noah Naylor, shortstop today for Team Ontario. So that'll be an error charge to the third baseman, Ty Poor. No official hit on the play. And 1 down, 1 on first. They try to see if they can catch Jake Irvin sleeping there. He gets back to the bag in time. Noah Naylor, the lefty, hitting in the 3 spot. Today, he's still looking for his first hit of the tournament. But the coaching staff know what he is capable of. That is why he is sitting there in the 3-hole. He's got a good lefty bat, and they try the pickoff move once again. Team Ontario, we mentioned 278 team batting averages. That one floats in high and taken easily for a ball. Their on-base percentage, though, 384. Pretty good-looking numbers. Still doesn't match up with the 416 OBP for New Brunswick. Ontario, though, they have 37 hits as a team, 7 of those doubles, and have 23 runs batted in. Not quite the usual offensive numbers that we've seen from Ontario teams in the past, but this is a team with a championship pedigree. We mentioned they were PV provincial winners, this unit. They actually went to a Cooperstown tournament, as there's a 4-pitch walk to Noah Naylor, so that'll put runners at first and second. They were in a Cooperstown tournament where they finished 4th out of 104 teams, which is already a great stat as that is. But that's the best finish a Canadian team has ever had in that respective tournament.
Yeah, being able to do that in the United States of America, where baseball is home, is pretty impressive.
So these guys are gamers. They're big game ready athletes, and they're looking to add the under 15 gold medal championship to their resume, as it'll be Lucas Parente now, who's gone 3 for 9 in the tournament with an RBI. He was 2 for 3 earlier today against BC, and that lone RBI that he's cashed in came in during that game. So runners at first and second in Ontario, looking to get to Carson here early in this first inning, as he drops in a breaking ball, just nibbles the outside corner. First pitch strike. Fastball comes in on Lucas Parente, pushes him off the plate. Count evens up at 1. And that one's shot up the middle by Parente, so his hot hitting continues from the game earlier today over British Columbia, who were the bronze medal winners here in this championship, and Parente just smokes that one right up the middle. No defender's going to get to that one. Good job by the center fielder, Peyton Hoyt, to get to that one rather quickly. And they had to hold the runner at third, so the bases are juiced for Ben Siprovsky. Here's a great opportunity early on in this game for Ontario to open things up here and take a lead. Siprovsky's hitting .222 as he takes that one, an easy take. You can see there the stats for Ben. So an error, a walk, and a single. See the bases loaded. And he holds on that one. A good eye from the Ontario second baseman. So the count is 2-0 now. It's a dangerous spot for Carson early on. We talk about pitchers in this tournament and their struggles in the first inning. That time he gets enough of the outside for a strike. So 2 balls and a strike to Carson, who really needs to settle down here. A double play would be huge for New Brunswick, as that is how the second baseman and shortstop are positioned right now, as Siprovsky grounds that to the third baseman, and he skies it over the catcher. That'll score a run. 2 runs will come home. And what could have been a 5-2-3 double play to end the inning on a routine grounder to the second baseman ends up costing them 2 runs. That's 2 errors now to tie poor already in this first inning. And you got to feel for the guy in this situation. Yeah, that's one he just overthrew.
Carson throwing well so far on the mound. That's 2 problems there in the infield, and a little overzealous there at third base, and it was high right out of his hand.
Yeah, you know, these guys are 14, 15 years old. Big pressure situation here for them. This is one of the biggest stages of their early careers so far, so perhaps a little bit of nerves early on, but Ontario, they like to get at teams early and often, and they've done that of late. They did that yesterday in a must-win game against Alberta and never really looked back, so the big inning has really paid off for Ontario. They had the 6-run second inning against BC. We mentioned the 9-0 victory you saw originally on Rogers TV, and what an adventure we have been on since.
Yeah, and how often have we seen this big first innings? New Brunswick hoping to hold Ontario just to 2.
Now the shortstop and third baseman are playing a little bit in case there's a grounder shot right to them to try and hold that runner at third. Runners are at third and second, still just the one out, and already a 2-0 lead for Team Ontario as Carson gets Osborne to chase that one. Evens up the count. There's a look at Mitch's numbers in the tournament. And the pitch just a little low. Carson, see him knees shaking a little bit. He wanted that call. Who has, I can honestly say, probably has the best beard among any of the players in this tournament, because I don't know how many of the players in this tournament can grow a beard.
Yeah, I know at that age, I certainly couldn't.
I definitely could not, so kudos to Carson.
It's an intimidation factor.
He wins the beard award. We've been dishing out the Sweet Caroline fan of the game. Now we've got a new one. The Canadian baseball tournament's best facial hair going to Carson. Right now he could care less about winning an award for best facial hair. He'd like to get out of this inning and keep the damage here minimal. Already the 2 runs, now a full count on Osborne. That pitch is in the dirt. So a rather shaky start for Carson and his team behind him defensively. Numbers you do not want to normally see. 2-0, you're down by 2, but the other team only has 1 single. Two players reaching via the air, 2 walks. And now Ricardo Alvarez, first pitch swinging, high, chopper to the shortstop, over to the second baseman, trying to turn 2, and they execute. Call that a 6-4-3 double play. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered after a shaky start to the first inning. And you can see Carson maybe gets away with one, hangs a breaking ball, but Ricardo Alvarez can't get enough of that to send it out of the infield. And a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play keeps it at a 2-0 score. That could be huge, as there were 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out.
Yeah, Esty with a great play at shortstop on the high hopper. And we've seen so often that first innings can get out of hand, but holding Ontario to 2, pretty good.
Not bad, yeah, pretty good. And now they'll have a chance with their bats to try and do some damage. Will New Brunswick. Now, for New Brunswick, we talk about the difference between some of these provinces. They sort of take players, they pluck them and put together an all-star team like Quebec did or Newfoundland. For this team, as well as Ontario, a core that have been together for a good 6 or 7 years, as we see Ontario defensively, Parente, Davis, and Alvarez in the outfield. Your standard outfielders for this tournament, especially Davis and Alvarez there. And you see Lipinski, Naylor, Saprovsky, and Irvin around the infield, and it's Whalen and Osborne as your pitcher-catcher combo. Tyler Whalen starting today. This guy throws heat. We've seen him come in for relief. He's come in twice as a reliever, and he is a flamethrower. He can throw in the mid-80s, can drop a curveball and a change as well. For Tyler Whalen, his numbers, a 3.1 innings pitched total. He's only given up 1 hit and 1 walk in 3 1/3 innings pitched, and his ERA is at a outstanding 0.000000. So
I think that's what you call perfect.
Yeah. And here's how New Brunswick will stack up offensively. Note the middle of the order there. Esty and Hoyt and Newman, 3, 4, and 5. As dangerous as it gets, they have 3 of them are in the tops for average in the tournament. And Esty and Hoyt both have home runs in this tournament. For Hoyt, he is the lone ball player in this championship to hit a home run over the home run fence. He nailed one pass down the left field line earlier today, almost hitting one of our Rogers TV trucks. And Esty as well has cranked a couple to deep center field for inside the park home run. So 3 home runs for this New Brunswick team. No other team in the tournament even has 1.
Yeah, some big bats, and that's 328 plus to left field. That's a huge bomb in order to get a home run over the fence here.
And going back to what we were saying about this New Brunswick team, so they are the Fredericton Royals. Now they had to win an elimination tournament with 7 teams. As we mentioned, this is a team they've been together for a long time. They've won the East Canadian Pee Wee Championships, which is another tournament that is a part of Baseball Canada. They won that in 2012, so this is another team with a championship resume as Whalen comes in with the heat. And you got to be ready to swing against this guy. Expect the fastball, and he's already ahead of Woodsworth 0-2 early on. The right fielder for Team New Brunswick. And he chases that high heat at the almost at eye level. But it's tough to lay off when it comes in that fast. So for Whalen, another strikeout. As Brett Mercier, the second baseman now, will take a turn. We sort of alluded to how good New Brunswick offense has been in this tournament. We mentioned that they have the 3 home runs. Well, they've hit 53 hits as a team. That's good for first. 10 doubles, that's first. 30 RBIs and an on-base percentage of .416. Guess what? All #1 ranks in the tournament. They get on base via the walk as well, 27 of those, and as a team, their average is .314. And we set it up as offense versus strong pitching. Well, we've got one of the better pitchers on the Ontario team on the mound against the bats of New Brunswick. And that one, he blows right past Mercier. And I think it's going to be a steady dose of fastballs until one of these guys on New Brunswick shows that they can connect with what Whalen brings to the table. There's another fastball and just a staying alive swing there, Mercier. And you can see on that last shot with how hard Whalen's throwing, the center fielder leaning a bit more towards left field side as players are more inclined to go the other way if they make contact with one of these hard fastballs. Wouldn't expect to see too many of these guys pulling the ball the way Whalen is throwing, as we are enjoying a beautiful 4th and final day here at the Vaughan Grove Sports Park. Your 2014 Baseball Canada 15U Boys Championships been a beauty. It's our final broadcast here. Myself and Andrew have had a blast. Rogers TV staff and crew, the whole crew here at the Vaughan Sports Grove Park. Everything's been outstanding, and it's all come together for this.
I gotta say,
one final ball game.
After being blown away by a few fastballs, Mercier coming back here, bringing it to 3-2.
Tries to hold up. And he definitely went around. Nice try by Mercier. But that bat was dangling under his chin by the time he checked it. Back-to-back strikeouts for Whalen. Here's another look. Did he go around? Oh, yes, he did. Nice try, though. He's trying to sell the walk. And then they do the check at third base. And Mercier.
Not too happy.
Not the happiest guy, but here comes the power bats for New Brunswick. Esty, oof. His first pitch swing, there's a look at what he's done. 500 average with 11 hits. Two home runs and 9 RBIs as well for Esty. So when you talk about power numbers, this guy may be one of the best in the entire tournament, as that last one was fouled off the umpire's mask. So a little time taken to regroup. And Whalen takes a little something off there, doesn't get the call. The hometown fans right now thinking everything's a strike, but who can blame them? They just want to see success for their boy on the mound. Whalen's fastball there, high and wide. So Esty's working himself into one of the better hitters counts we've seen so far for any New Brunswick player. And he chases that high cheese. They'll need to lay off that high fastball, but the third batter in a row now that's elected to go for it. It looks good at first, but they need to just recognize it out of the arm of Whalen and lay off, as that breaking ball was fouled back by Esty, staying alive. Good AB, though, for the New Brunswick shortstop.
Yeah, New Brunswick can't seem to get the timing right on the fastball, and when the breaking ball comes in, just fools them.
And he gets the strikeout, blowing a fastball by Esty as well. So 3 up, 3 down. Tyler Whalen comes in and he strikes out the side. We will be back as the score remains 2-0 in favor of Team Ontario. Be right back on Rogers TV. Taking a look at some of the fans in the home run section. Probably not best to expect a souvenir, but they've got a whole different view. Sit back and relax. Looking as comfortable as ever out there. Deep in right field. As there's a look at Ryan Farrell. The catcher for New Brunswick, Ben Carson, will continue to pitch on the bump. And it will be Connor Lipinski, who you mentioned as well in our intro. What a beauty pitching performance they got from him, a complete game victory.
Yeah, Lipinski looking to get it done at the plate.
Takes a look at a first pitch strike. Two different looking pitchers. You got Whan throwing heat, and you've got Carson mixing it up. Really has to locate his pitches, and that was a nice one there. Another one, a good eye by Lipinski.
And you got to think that Carson's looking for a nice and quick inning, 24 pitches in the first.
Lipinski hitting 200 in the tournament, goes down to get that one, and he'll fall behind with a ball and 2 strikes. When he drops in another hook, good eye for Lipinski. That's 2 tough pitches to take, especially when you're protecting the plate. 2-2 count now. That one's wild in the dirt. Carson seems to have great command of his off-speed and breaking ball, off-speed pitches and his breaking ball, but the fastball, we've seen plenty of them in the dirt early on. That's one he'll have to be able to throw for a strike if he wants some longevity, as that one's grounded to the third baseman, and an easy throw there for Poor. Quick out for Carson.
Yeah, Poor having some trouble in the first inning at third base. Able to easily throw out the runner at first.
Well, we mentioned what Tyler Whalen's done as a pitcher. Solid numbers. As a batter, 1 for 6 with a couple of runs scored. You can see the average right there, 167. Whan goes down to get that one, and it's fair, just getting out of the reach. And the throw into second, just out of the reach of Poor, but a leadoff double for Tyler Whan, helping out his own cause. Product out of Hamilton, Ontario, 6 feet tall, 175 pounds. You can see that hustle he had, sliding in feet first into the base. And now, here comes trouble. Tyler Whan in scoring position with 1 out, and here is Cooper Davis, one of the all-stars of this tournament. Not only is he hitting everything in sight and getting great production out of the leadoff spot, but he's got great wheels that he uses in the outfield as well. There's the pitch by Carson. Eats up Poor. And it's been a rough go at the hot corner for Ty Poor of New Brunswick. That'll be the 3rd error now. And it's almost as though when things aren't going your way, every ball seems to be directed at you, and it took a strange hop on him at the last second. It holds the runner at second, but Cooper Davis will now be on first base with Jake Irvin, who reached via an error. Sound like Mayor Quimby. Error in the first.
Yeah, and for Poor, the infield's been a little bumpy all week, and when you're at third base, it comes at you even faster.
We talk about the 2 different styles for these starting pitchers. Oh, Irvin just connects on that one and cranks it into left center field. 1 run will score, and the runners will move to second and third on the RBI double for Jake Irvin. He made no mistake there. His eyes lit up, and he pulled that one. Nice job by the center fielder, Peyton Hoyt, to cut that one off and not allow that one to find the gap, or else that could have been even more trouble. But now it's a 3-0 lead. Still nobody out here with runners on second and third. And I was going to mention the different styles of these 2 pitchers. You got the hard-throwing Whan. A lot of balls will go the other way if they make contact. Carson doesn't throw as hard, and that's why we've seen balls being pulled, as the Ontario hitters are able to get the barrel of the bat out on those pitches and drive them with power. or the right-handers at least, into left field, as now it'll be Noah Naylor. So, excuse me, there is the 1 out. My apologies, it was Connor Lipinski who grounded out to start this one, but it's come off the rails since. There's a shot to the second baseman, and that takes a funny bounce on the second baseman as well. They will have Noah Naylor a dead duck at second base, but 2 more runs come in to score and make it 5-0 now on the Naylor grounder. Again, Carson getting no support right now from his defense. And again, it almost looks as though the ball hits the lip from the grass and the dirt, takes a bizarre bounce. It has to be frustrating right now for the starting pitcher for New Brunswick, Carson. You're inducing those ground balls. You have to think you might be out of this inning without having occurred any damage. Thus far as Parente, first pitch, grounds it to the second baseman. That'll finally do it. He's a guy who keeps the ball low in the zone, and usually that'll result in plenty of ground balls, but he's just not getting the defensive support.
Yeah, and as a pitcher, you're not really in control of any of that, so you just got to keep your composure and get back out there and pitch as good as you can.
Well, the bats will have to get going for New Brunswick. We talk about the outstanding pitching numbers for Team Ontario. They've only allowed 14 earned runs, second best as a team, but have only walked 10 batters in 5 games. That's an average of 2 walks per game. That is the big one there. That'll keep the whip low. That'll keep those extra runs from coming in. But that just goes to show, as the opposing team, they will come at you. They will attack the strike zone. So you better be ready to swing, because they can pile up the strikeouts. We mentioned that Lipinski, who you see right there, he had an outstanding complete game victory. Harley Gollard has started 2 games, has pitched a total of 9.1 innings, only allowing 2 earned runs while striking out 15 batters. So he had 2 clutch wins, 1 to start this tournament for Ontario and 1 over BC here today, 6-2. And then, of course, there's Whalen, who he has yet to allow a run, and he had the fastball. The mojo was going in that first, striking out all 3 batters.
Yeah, only 17 pitches in the first, and it's interesting that the big bats of New Brunswick aren't able to really understand or figure out Whalen on the mound.
I think it's going to come down to you have to connect on that fastball, or he'll just keep throwing them until you can show you can hit it. And we mentioned the dimensions, just 55 feet away, the mound to home plate. So that mid-80s fastball coming at you even faster than it normally would. It's been a blast covering this tournament once again, back-to-back years here on Rogers TV. And Peyton Hoyt, here's a guy who can crush, and he did just that. We mentioned he has a home run as I'm not too sure how that one wasn't a strike there. Interesting there from Whalen, starts things off with a breaking ball, so well aware of the power and trying to throw Hoyt. Catch him off guard. That time looked to be even a changeup, so nothing fast coming at Hoyt just yet, who's worked himself into a nice hitter's count, 2 balls and no strikes. We mentioned his home run cleared the fence in left field, smacking into one of our Rogers TV trucks, as there's a strike there right at the knees. Fastball from Whalen. Well, every other at-bat so far, the first 3, was just a healthy dose of fastballs. He started with the off-speed stuff. There's a fastball that just gets enough, so the count's evened up at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Peyton Hoyt can't catch up to that fastball. 4 strikeouts in a row for Whalen.
And again, not just the fastball, but the high fastball. No one on New Brunswick able to get around on it.
And it is tough to get around on. That's one of those where they'll need to lay off. There's no chance. He swung right under that one. If you look at the replay there, it'll be Zach Newman, has the best average. May not have the RBI totals of Esty and Hoyt, but he has 7 hits and 13 at-bats, a .538 average. He's top 5 statistically, with Cooper Davis in there from Ontario. Bremner from Whan also in that category, in that conversation. Ball and a strike here for Whan. And that fastball right at the letters. He's primed up for another K. And that's 5 strikeouts in a row. Whan again just coming at him with the fastball. Completely freezing Newman. He might have thought a breaking ball or a changeup was coming with the count 1-2. Nope. That's another fastball, and he knew right away. As Ty Poor, who's had a rough day in the field, gets a chance at redemption here at the plate. Rocking the no batting gloves. You know I'm a huge fan of that.
Good old school look.
That's right. There's the first ball put in play. Ty Poor skies that over the left fielder, Lucas Parente, and he'll go for 3. Will Ty Poor, and he'll get in there standing up. So it's the first time anyone's been able to make contact off of Whan, and it results in a triple after 5 straight strikeouts.
Yeah, Poor totally redeeming himself with that triple to left field.
And Ryan Farrell, the catcher, looking to drive him in. Tough start here for New Brunswick, already down by 5 in the second inning. You can see there with an RBI and a walk to his name so far. He calls for time as they want to just go over the signs. Here you can see Tyler Whan. His bid to strike out every single batter is now over. But he was off to a start that was as good as it gets. No chance for Farrell on that fastball. I mean, these New Brunswick hitters are just so late on their swings when they're trying to connect with the fastball. That hit for Poor, he was late on an off-speed pitch. That's how hard Whan is throwing. And that there, not only does he throw hard, but he can locate that fastball. Outside part of the plate on these right-handers. Now he's looking for another one. And he gets Farrell to chase. The high heat climbs the ladder once again. So after 2 innings of play, Ontario still leads 5-0. And Tyler Whan, 6 outs, 6 strikeouts. Impressive stuff. We'll take a break and we'll be back with the top of the 3rd. All right, welcome back. Top of the 3rd coming up. There's a look at your box score. Just the lone hit for New Brunswick. They've been in tough against Tyler Whan. So we take a look at some of the fans here around the ballpark. Oh yeah, you're on TV. Yeah, you're still on TV.
And you mentioned New Brunswick having a hard time. That's 6 strikeouts for Whan on 32 pitches in 2 innings of work.
And it'll still be Carson on the mound. As Siprovsky will have his second look. He reached via an error his first time up. First pitch swinging for Saprovsky, and the left fielder gets to that and makes a nice diving catch there by Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan, isn't that the name of the, I think
that's a movie.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Recruit something?
No. Isn't it the, oh boy. I'm at a loss for words here. Jack Ryan, guys in the truck, we can get a hand here.
Yeah, someone's got to Google this.
Is it like the reindeer games or something like that? Isn't he the Tom Clancy thing? I don't know. Yeah, Tom Clancy, that would be it.
The truck has told us what it is?
Yes, thank you guys for saving us there. I knew it was something. As now the pitcher, Ben Carson, comes up to the plate. Bunch of books, a few movies. Well, either way, Jack Ryan in the outfield for New Brunswick, just as lethal, but with a baseball bat. Dun, 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 dun. All right, I'm done. Oh, that one's shot right back to the pitcher.
Now batting.
Good reactionary play there by Ben Carson. Let's have a look at that. Those are always scary, but they were lined right back to him, and he makes a nice snag.
A good example of how a pitcher needs to set up for a ground ball or a line drive right after pitching.
Seen some scary liners shot back to pitchers, especially at the MLB level. We won't forget what happened to Aroldis Chapman during the preseason, but he's back in action and continues his streak of most innings pitched all time with a strikeout, the closer for the Cincinnati Reds. Talk about how Whalen throws heat. Chapman almost hitting triple digits every time with his fastball.
Yeah, and another one I won't ever forget is the Jay Happ one.
Yeah, that was a scary one too. That's why that conversation of should they wear padded hats for pitchers, I don't think that's a bad idea.
It might not look the coolest, but I think it's a good idea.
Definitely doesn't look the coolest. But it could be for the bigger picture of safety first. As there's a walk to Ricardo Alvarez, who grounded into a 6-4-3 double play his last time up. So a runner reaches on base for the third consecutive inning. Let's take a look at that pitch inside. Oof. And it's just as scary for the hitters, trying to dodge those inside pitches. As now it's Connor Lipinski, and the breaking ball misses by a big margin. So Carson was off to a great start. A line out and a fly out. But now runners on via the walk. And he needs to keep the score where it's at. They're already having enough trouble as it is, trying to hit anything off of Whalen. As Ontario looking to be back-to-back championships. Almost had the hit and run call on, and they gun him at second base, Ricardo Alvarez. So that will do it for the top of the third. No runs come home. A much more clean inning for New Brunswick, and we'll see if their bats can get anything started here against Tyler Whalen. So Andrew, you and I have been here for 4 days.
That we have.
We've had a good time here calling these games. We've seen some great entertaining baseball, great young athletes. So we've already given Ben Carson the award for best beard. But you know, you and I both love the baseball names. So we've compiled a little bit of a list here of some of the best baseball names that we've heard and seen throughout the tournament. Not for any specific team, we're just going to read them out. I'll do a few, I'll let you finish it off. We've got Aaron Peach, Zach Zink, one of my personal favorites, Caleb Metacraft, we had Connor Snar, and Ryan Ricketts from the BC team. That was a pretty good one, double R.
And there are some great ones here, a lot of them. There's Braden Otto, Reese Craddy, Cole Dalazana, Liam Cruz, Jacob Boozide, Levi Muth, and Colby Klepper.
Colby Klepper. I'd have to say, if I had to pick two of my favorites, that they go to Double Z, Zach Zink, And I'm a big fan of the Colby Klepper. I like that one. Those are baseball player names if I've ever heard them. Oh, and we're going to have to pause right now because it's a little premature perhaps. We're going to have our Sweet Caroline fan of the gold medal game here. Let's see what we got, folks. That lady's very animated, but I don't think she's paying attention to the song. Oh, our cameras may have found one. Was that the lady from earlier?
I think it's the same lady.
Is it the same lady?
She's here just for Sweet Caroline.
So are we able to give her a back-to-back Fan of the Game awards for the Sweet Caroline Fan of the Game? So not only do we just dished out all our awards in one half inning. We got the best beard, the best names, and we already gave our Sweet Caroline Fan of the Game out.
Maybe we'll be lucky and Sweet Caroline will be played again later on in the game.
So Ron Mill owes that lady a couple of cheeseburgers. That is how we do it here on Rogers TV. The most ridiculous awards you can come up with, we will have them. As Jack Ryan leads things off, the left fielder with a single the other way. So that's a nice start for New Brunswick here.
And before we move on, I just have to say that I wasn't able to say which name was my favorite. I would have to go with Reese Craddy.
Reese Craddy?
Reese Craddy would be my favorite, I think.
That's a good one. That's a turnover from last year, too. Reese Craddy, that name. So this will probably be the last time we'll ever see him at this tournament. So I'm down with the fact that you're giving him some love as our beard of the tournament now steps into the plate. Ben Carson. Carson's hitting 2 for 8 with a couple of runs scored and an RBI. That's good for a 250 average. And that's lined to the right fielder. And I have no idea what Jack Ryan was thinking. I have no idea there what. That was an error on the base paths for sure. That was an easy line out to the right fielder. It was shallow too, and it was a no-doubter for Alvarez to just send that over to the first baseman, Jake Irvin. Big mistake there by Jack Ryan on the base passes. Now you give them a free out. You turn a one-out situation with a runner on into a two-out, nobody on, and now it's back to Bryson Woodworth, who, like almost the rest of his teammates, started things out with a strikeout.
Yeah, especially early on. Down 5-0, you're at first base. You don't want to be caught in that double play.
And he blows that fastball by Woodsworth. Comes at him again. Takes that one for a ball, so the count is now 3-1 on Woodworth. Now it's full. Woodworth fouling that one off. You mentioned he came into this one 5 for 10, make it 5 for 11 now, and he strikes out once again. So make that 7 strikeouts for Tyler Whalen through 3 innings of play, and his team still up 5-0 in the 2014 Baseball Canada U15 Gold Medal Final. We'll be back here on Rogers TV. All right, welcome back. Even the pets enjoying themselves around the ballpark today. As the score remains 5-0 for Team Ontario. And the lights are out, the sun is setting, and here we go. Our first look at some evening baseball. As it's time for the top of the fourth, Connor Lipinski grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1 on the day. We talk about this New Brunswick offense, though, being stymied right now by Whalen. Today in that matchup against Whan, where they won 11-6, they had 7 players that recorded a 2-hit game. It was outstanding stuff. Newman came in and pitched 4 innings for the Fredericton Royals, as they are officially known. So just some serious pitching on display, as that is a nice little breaking ball dropping in right at the knees for a strike. And Lipinski gets enough of that one. The shortstop has to come in on it, and he makes a nice play there. Adam Esty.
Yeah, Adam Esty with a few great plays at shortstop here today. Nice quick transfer.
And Tyler Whalen, the pitcher who doubled
Number 21, Tyler Whalen.
his last time up. After Whalen, it'll be Cooper Davis back to the top of the order. This is the 18th batter to face Carson so far through 3 1/3, as Whalen goes the other way with it. The first baseman will need to get that over quickly to the pitcher, and he does just that. So score that a ground out, 3-1. And it's back to Cooper Davis with 2 outs.
Yeah, Newman almost not being able to get it out of his glove there in time.
Number 44, Cooper Davis.
Having a little bit of trouble there, but still able to get the out.
Cooper Davis, we know about what he is capable of doing. Both of these teams have valuable weapons on the bench as well. As Cooper Davis lays off of that breaking ball in the dirt. You have to feel for Ben Carson at this stage. He has settled down after a shaky start to the game. But, you know, if a couple of those grounders turn into outs, the score could be 2-0 or 3-0 only at this stage, because Ontario hasn't really hit them too hard and too consistently either. They haven't been able to muster up the big inning offensively. A lot of ground balls. There's another one. Carson makes a great play on the run. Great fielding pitcher. And that'll do it. That was a quick one for Team Ontario in the top of the 4th. And this game is cruising along. We're not even an hour into this one, and we're already heading into the bottom of the 4th. Of course, if you've been with us, you know these are 7-inning games unless they are tied.
And New Brunswick hoping that the 7th inning really does mean something, hoping to get on the board here.
Now for Carson, who is just on the mound, he has 1 strikeout. As we mentioned, he's not overpowering, but he likes to pitch low in the zone. Great location and changing of speeds has resulted in 7 ground ball outs to this stage in the game. There's a look at some of the players here, and there's actually more people out in the outfield than we've seen all tournament, enjoying the view from a distance.
Well, with a game involving Hoyt, you never know if you're going to get a souvenir out there.
You very well could. As Whalen will continue to pitch here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The 5 errors there you see in the box score, huge. That's really come back to hurt New Brunswick early on, because other than that, it's been a pretty back and forth affair. It's just Ontario's been gifted so many free opportunities.
Oh yeah, and I know, and Carson has actually been pitching pretty well. 24 pitches in the 1st inning, but since then, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, keeping his pitches under 15 per inning.
And that's him pitching to contact. As our home plate umpire, she dusts off the plate. And Whalen wants to continue dusting these New Brunswick hitters. Brett Mercier like to get something going here to lead things off. And he shows bunt, tries the drag bunt. Hey, if you can't catch up to the fastball, get on base any means possible. Good idea, potentially. But now that'll have Lipinski at third base playing in on the grass for sure. And he is playing rather shallow right now. He has a feeling they might try it again. And Mercier chasing that high heat. The New Brunswick hitters just haven't been able to make the adjustment and lay off those pitches that are at the eye level almost. They look good coming in. That time he climbs the ladder, and not even Mitch Osborne can track that one down.
Yeah, and the New Brunswick hitters sometimes swinging just a little bit too hard to compensate for it and taking their eye off the ball.
And there's a breaking ball a little too high. That's one of those things where if you just use your hands against a power pitcher, all you really have to do is just bring the barrel of the bat through the zone, through the plate. And there's another chase on some